Hey there, city builders, Kodiak the Kodiak here, and I have some exciting news to share with all of you. In the latest developer insight for City Skylines II, we're diving several feet deep into the winter season. Get ready to experience some new challenges and surprises as we explore the event log and take a closer look at the 3 brand new disasters: tornadoes, wildfires, and hailstorms. This week's insight might have a few unexpected twists, so make sure to stay tuned to uncover all the exciting details. We still have several dev diaries and insights to uncover, so don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and ring the notification bell so you won't miss any of the updates. Alright, urban adventurers, get ready to face the elements, conquer disasters, and build the city of your dreams. Okay, before we get started, I just want to preface that any criticism I give of City Skylines 2 in these dev diaries does not reflect my opinion that this game's going to be bad or terrible. My job here is to give you guys a deep and detailed breakdown with some of my opinions about it, and I don't want you guys to think that I think City Skylines 2 is going to be a flop or it's going to be a bad game. I'm pointing out stuff that they're showing from a beta build that doesn't look appealing to me or does not look good or bode well, but that doesn't mean that I think that one little aspect of the game is going to make it be a flop or be a terrible game. I've just seen like some minor criticisms that I've made, which overall my coverage of City Skylines 2 has been very positive. Just some minor criticisms like harped on in the comments, and this week I'm probably going to give a lot more because this dev diary is not disappointing, but it's definitely shorter and doesn't show off a lot of the things that I wanted to. So you're going to see me be potentially a little bit more negative this week. But I just want to preface that I still think City Skylines 2 is going to be a great game, and I don't think that any of these are going to detract away from all of the cool stuff that we've seen so far. So let's dive into the diary.
Today's topic is climate and seasons.
They're definitely turning these dev insights more and more into like real life, showing off the developers, the developer studio, what they're doing. And honestly, that's kind of cool. I wish they had done more of this throughout these dev insights, like made them maybe a little longer, included more of that with all the cool stuff that they showed off in the dev diary so far. I'd love to learn more about the Colossal Order dev team. I know some of the people who work for Colossal Order, like for example, Bad Peanut, they work for Paradox now, but I would love to like learn more about the people who make the game that we all love. We've seen all these.
Has its own climate.
We've seen all of these maps before in the previous dev diaries and insights, which you guys can take a look at the playlist. I'll link in the annotation somewhere on screen right now. So I won't break down any of these too much.
Climate, and the climate is based on latitude and longitude. That means that there are differences in the length of the day, weather conditions, etc. Seasons affect the weather, and they are
I'm sorry. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I have a degree in video production. I've put lav mics on a lot of people just doing professional video production works, and I feel bad for anybody who has to put a lav mic on somebody who isn't wearing a button-up shirt. Like if you're wearing a shirt like I am, and like you try to put like one of these mics on somebody, it's not the most fun thing in the world. So whoever made this, I empathize with you.
Conditions, etc. Seasons affect the weather, and they are different in each climate. Some climates have
So we saw the transition between seasons here, and this is as much of a seasonal transition that we are going to see here in this dev diary, or dev insight, sorry. And honestly, like I'm a little disappointed in how visually we're seeing these. Are they going to be a slow and gradual transition? Are they going to just be like a crossfade like they've shown, where it's just like once the day-night cycle hits, it's just everything's white? Or do we have to actually wait for snow? Is it the moment it's below freezing, everything turns white? I would assume that you have to wait for snow, but they haven't really shown off too much of the snow mechanics, like besides in the earlier dev diaries. The earlier dev diaries, it feels like was recorded on a newer build of the game because we were able to see so many more of these features. We haven't seen what the snow slowly looks like in a time lapse blanketing the city, and maybe that feature is not fully fleshed out and ready yet, but it is just a little, I don't know, disappointing that we haven't been able to see that yet. And also, something else that a lot of you have been pointing out in the comments, and I've been so hopeful for, which looking at this now, I'm definitely not. is when we look at this valley here, we can see all these trees. And my thought was like, oh, maybe they're all evergreen trees because they're all green, right? Well, if you look at some of these trees, they definitely look like they're deciduous trees, like their leaves are meant to fall. So do their leaves just not fall in the winter? Is that feature not built out yet? It's one of those things where I'm not sure whether or not it's going to be in the game at launch, and that worries me a little bit. Now, these are, again, they're not game-ending features. The game's still going to be really good, I think. Like, we saw all the core gameplay stuff in the earlier dev diaries and insights, but as somebody who, like, when you want to be really immersed in the city that you're building in, this can draw away from that. And so I just want to point it out.
Distinct seasons, and in some climates the seasons blend more together.
This is a nice shot.
There are 3 basic types of climate.
Notice how she said that the seasons will start to blend together, right? So again, they're talking about how the transition between the seasons will happen, but we haven't seen it yet. So that is something to like at least look out for in these dev diaries and insights, and maybe even go back and look at some of the original shots that we saw, because I'm beginning to think that maybe some of the earlier dev diaries were filmed earlier than this one. I think that, or I'm sorry, later than this one. I think this one might have been filmed a lot earlier than some of the other ones, because it seems like some of the stuff that they've shown off in earlier versions of the game haven't been shown to us in a long time. So
temperate, continental, and polar. Fun fact is that many maps' climates are based on real-life locations.
Do you have a favorite climate to play on?
No. I cannot pick my favorite climate because they are all so great.
Good save.
Solid.
It can be sunny, it can be rainy, or even snowy.
So notice how that transition happens, right? And we can see right here that not all of the edge here has snow. So is that because... why is that? I'm very curious.
Each map
this goes through. There's certain areas on the map that are not collecting snow. Why aren't they collecting snow? Is that a feature? Is that something to do with the ground detail? Is something they don't want us to know yet? I really wanted to know. That's what I was hoping that this dev insight would have a lot of more details on, and like how the intricacies and how this stuff works, but and like how the transition between seasons really truly happens, right? Like, does it just happen slowly over time? I don't know.
Features unique weather, and it changes with the simulation. The weather will affect on citizens' behavior. For example, they will prefer indoor activities while it's raining.
That from the dev diary. If you guys haven't watched my dev diary breakdown, it's it's up there.
Sunny, they prefer outdoor activity.
This is I don't know if this is like the community pool asset that you can place. It's cool that we actually get to see more down into. As I said, this is not all negative show here. I'm very excited to see that we can actually get down into these buildings in this dev insight, and we can actually see what's going on here with this building asset, and we can start to see what the inside of some, like the more detailed aspects, the zoomed in aspects of some of these buildings, because we haven't really done that too much yet. So we'll see a little bit more here. So they're sitting here on the balcony here. We can actually see like this character is like sitting down. The animations are relatively fluid. There's a lot of these Cims going to be walking around in your city. I don't expect them to be insanely high detailed, especially if they want this to run on a wide variety of computers and machines. I think a lot of people, I've seen comments that like people are a little disappointed in the graphics or something like that. But you have to also understand that they intend this game to be ran on a lot of different machines, right? Like for a wide variety of machines. They don't want to kick a large portion of their player base off because their computer isn't necessarily like that new, which granted, some people are going to be kicked off. Like, it's just like, that's what happens when you make new games and you want it to look good. But there is certain aspects that like, they want to make sure everybody can load as many Sims out and about as possible. So they can't be that high res, but I like the animations. I like the little details that they've added to them. I think it's just enough.
The weather also affects on energy consumption. For example, when the weather is warm.
Okay, good. I paused it. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Look down here. There's a new city called Hope. is this a city that I haven't heard of a creator yet talk about, or we haven't seen a city yet. So I haven't heard or didn't see a video come out when I was recording this from anybody that I follow that built this city. So if you guys know who built this city, let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, this could be just a developer made city. I'm not too sure. Maybe they renamed one of the other cities, but I don't know who built Hope. Who built Hope?
The citizens need
100,000
AC,
pop. 100,000 pop too.
and when it's cold, the buildings need heating.
Anything else we can tell about the city? Obviously, minus 16 degrees in the winter. Is that minus 16? That's got to be minus 16 Celsius, right? I hope so. Gosh, that would be really cold. But as we can see, it's snowing. Snow's not collecting, though, so did it just start snowing? That's why I kind of think that like some aspects of this were maybe made and recorded in like a different build of the game. So like maybe, I just want to preface and say like, it is beta build. Maybe some of this stuff has been like worked out a bit more, but interesting. Still interesting. Okay, so we have a roundabout here. What's the... Okay, all right. Those cars are like halfway in the roundabout.
The rush hours are based on...
I was taking a second to like kind of figure out what's going on here. Okay, so those cars are like trying to force their way into the roundabout. We have this car circling, so they stop for that. Okay, all right, everything's fine. Also, this next shot, albeit...
The rush hours are based...
While low resolution is very cool, and this is like one of our first experiences with large traffic amounts, right? And I think, dude, I actually think that the cinematic camera that's going to be built into this game is going to be very nice. Like, this is a very low angle shot. I don't think that we can even get this low with the vanilla camera in City Skylines 1. So this looks really good. I mean, granted, it does look a little low res. I don't know. Maybe they like shot it from further away and then zoomed in post, or maybe just the details of the cars just like look this low res when you get up that close to them. But this is a cool shot.
Based on citizens' schedules. All citizens now follow the schedule. In the mornings, they go to work and school, and in the evening, they come back home, and that creates the rush hours.
So there's going to be a rush hour mechanic where morning traffic and then evening traffic are going to be boosted, and then central day traffic and evening traffic will be lower. So,
amazing. Natural disasters are big weather events that affect on your city disasters ways.
In disasters.
Hey!
Before we move any further, a lot of you guys saw the tornado in the dev diary that did in fact have blue skies, and a lot of you pointed it out, and I think it's become a little bit of a running gag in the community. So,
Why in? Can AI put that in?
It's definitely there. You can't see it because I paused the screen, but it's definitely a blue sky tornado, and in the next scene you'll see it. Oh my goodness! In the next scene you will definitely see it a bit more of the blue sky with the tornado, which is definitely a little disappointing. I especially don't like the look of the tornado in City Skylines 2. It's just a preference thing, really. The tornado is all about kind of function, right? But I definitely liked the like fake twister look of the original one in City Skylines 1 compared to this one where they just threw a bunch of volumetric clouds together and then called it good. I don't know if this is just going to be like an early build model of the tornadoes or if this is just how they'll look. I'm not sure. I'm not a big fan of how they look. Let me know what you guys think. I know a lot of you aren't going to be playing with disasters on, as many of you have told me down in the comments, but I will be, and I'm not super big fan of it.
There are 3 types of natural disasters in the base game. There are forest fires.
The forest fires definitely look. Let's go back and look at those. So that's the tornado, and you can see it kind of spinning around. I'm not a super big fan of how it looks. It's just my personal preference. But here is the wildfires. They don't really show it off too well. It's very interesting. Like they wanted to show off the fires out in the woods, but then there's this billowing smoke pile. And does the smoke pile mean that this building is like, so it like starts off on fire and then it gets smoke as it gets close to being destroyed, and then then it just destroys when it's gone? Is that like maybe it comes in stages or something? I'm not too sure.
There are forest fires.
It's also raining during that forest fire, which I find kind of, not interesting. I mean, forest fires can still burn while it's raining, right? It just helps suppress them, but just interesting. And then over here we have
hailstorms,
hailstorm damage. So this is weather damage. The structure is being damaged badly by weather, right? And so we can get the hailstorm damage. As many of you have also pointed out that hailstorms, like they made the comment that it's when it's kind of colder out that hailstorms occur, but not freezing, right? Well, it's 23 degrees. My assumption is that it's 23 degrees Celsius, because otherwise this would be below freezing in Fahrenheit. And it's hailing. So I think it's safe to say that hailstorms can just happen anytime there's severe weather. So rest assured, hailstorms are happening realistically.
Tornadoes.
So.
I don't have any favorite natural disasters.
Yeah, not a fan of the tornadoes. Just personal
because
preference.
I hate them all because they ruin my city.
I think she makes it. I think she aligns very well with I think a lot of people who play City Skylines. I think a lot of people are not like a super big fan of natural disasters. And I remember some people commented that like, why are they even wasting their time on this when like I'm not going to use it? Well, okay, well you're not going to use it, but I'm going to use it. And I think it's interesting that they chose to put it in the base game because there is a bit of a realism aspect to natural disasters, right? Our climate is getting very extreme in how it globally on how it handles disasters, right? Wildfires becoming a lot more intense. Hurricanes, statistically on average, more intense. Tornadoes happening more frequently, stronger, right? And so I think that as City Skylines develops, a natural disasters DLC might be relevant, but they might also just add disasters to the base game as free vanilla updates. As we all know, City Skylines 1 with every core update came with a free update, and they might add more coming like in the future, right? Bikes, my hope is that bikes will come with a free update for everybody. Might not, might just come with a DLC. But I think disasters are one of those things where if you really want to build a realistic city, I think disasters are a realistic part of city building and managing experience. And if there's one thing I've learned about City Skylines 2 so far is that they went hard on management expansion. So I think it's an important part.
That was amazing, yes.
And you can always turn it off.
Traffic accidents, building fire.
Right. So right here is the event journal. She's going to talk about it after I unpause. Here it is. Somebody said in the comments on the dev diary that they thought it would be a really good idea if this also had other information besides just disasters. Like I think I agree with him. I think it's a waste of such a cool concept to just use it for disasters when this could be like milestones, right? Like it could be tracking like your 100th child born in the city, or like you've reached this population and then it gives you like a date when it happened, right? So you can actually keep like a historical log of your city. Like I think keeping like historical, rather it being an event journal, a historic log for your city would be such a cool concept in this game that I wish and hope that this gets adapted into in some way, shape, or form.
And all natural disasters are logged in the event journal.
These are cool shots. These transitions are really cool, and it makes me really excited for that last dev diary where they talk about the cinematic camera, because I'm so interested to see how they actually filmed all this stuff with the base game cinematic camera.
Thank you for watching, and next week we will go through economy.
I will say, before we exit, I think the economy dev diary is going to potentially be chock full of information. Now, granted, I thought that potentially about this one. I just can't see the economy dev diary being light. I can't imagine it being a shorter dev diary or not full of information, or at least the written part of it not being just so in depth. So make sure you guys are subscribed if you guys want a deep breakdown of that. I'm sorry if I kind of appeared here. Let's woo. I wanted to hear the outro of that song. I think that, I maybe was a little bit harsh this week in my analysis of it, but I think that it's important to like also point them out at least, and not let it necessarily like ruin the whole game. I think this game's still going to be great. Like, I think even though like I've noticed some things about climate, like the trees not losing their leaves, right? Or like, I don't think the tornadoes look very good, right? But all of that is, to me, is fine. I don't see a huge issue with these features like not being as good or fleshed out when I've saw so much other good stuff about the other things. But I still think it's important. I think I see that as my job to point out like a detailed analysis of what's going on. And my analysis is that it's maybe this one was a little disappointing. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Another thing I also noticed as well was that we didn't see any building destruction other than like the hailstorm. This building has damage, right? We didn't see any like destroyed buildings in either of these dev diaries, but we've seen them previously as well, which again leaves me to assume that like, I think that this one was, or like a lot of this stuff was potentially filmed on a different build of the game than the ones that we saw previously, because it felt like they were showing off so much more stuff in those early dev insights and dev diaries, and in these past few, they've been very closed. It feels like they're like scared to show us more. So I hope that changes in the future with these dev diaries. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. And I will catch you guys this weekend for my build series video, which you guys haven't watched any of that. I'll leave that up in the annotations up above, and make sure to stay subscribed and turn on notifications for Monday's dev diary on the economy, which I think is going to be potentially a long one. Have a good one, everyone, and deuces.